The sexuality of man is one of the most deep-rooted mysteries that we are yet to fully unravel. Sex and gender is a delicate subject for the church. Some claim the issue is of marginal importance to the gospel. Meanwhile, our young people are asking our church leaders for an honest discussion of the subject. The act of sex goes beyond the physical contact of bodies. Apostle Paul in 1 Corinthians chapter 6 verse 16 to verse 18, and I read from the Easy English translations. Anyone who makes his own body joined to a prostitute becomes one body with the prostitute. The two people shall become one body. But everyone who is united to the Lord is one spirit with the Lord. So do not have sex with anyone who is not your own wife or husband, but careful never to do that. Any other bad things that you do is outside your own body. But if you have sex with the wrong person, you do something wrong to your own body. Praise God. It does appear as if Apostle Paul was trying to categorize sin into two dimensions. One, the sin committed with the body, and secondly, the sin committed without the body. He also went further to speak about having sex with the right person and with the wrong person. This implied the classification of sex into right and wrong. There is a stern warning against the sin committed with the body, which says, "But careful never to do that." This strong warning connotes a danger sign. It is very obvious here that the sin committed with the body carry a weightier consequence than the sin committed without the body. When the Bible gives a strong warning regarding a thing, the onus rests on us to diligently uncover the mystery behind it. There are two parallel analyses drawn by Apostle Paul in this verse of the scripture. The oneness between a man and a woman through the act of sexuality, and the oneness between an individual and the Lord through spirituality. The two events are independently isolated, but are perpendicular in their end results. Your oneness with the person you have sex with commences with the body contact, goes through the passage of your mind, and ends with the spirit fusion. But my oneness with the Lord begins with my spirit fusion with the Lord's Spirit. We become one with the Lord by our spirits. And the same principle is applicable with sexuality. We become one with the person we have sex with through spirit connection. The triune nature of man are engaged in both processes. From the natural point of view, when you add or multiply two or more numbers together, you will get an inflated numerical outcome. 2 plus 2 will give you a bigger numerical digits. Or if you multiply 3 by 3, it gives a geometric answer. Ironically, such application does not induce spiritual phenomenon. Mathematical permutation in the spiritual dimension does not coincide with terrestrial calculations. And that is why 1,000 years in the earthly realm is tantamount to just one day in the spirit realm. Spiritually speaking, when you add or multiply two or more spiritual elements together, you will arrive at a decimated answer. In 1 John chapter 5 verse 7, "For there are three that bears record in heaven, the Father, the Son, and the Spirit, and these three are one." In John chapter 10 verse 30, "I and my Father are one." When Apostle Paul spoke of two bodies becoming one in relation to sexual connectivity, he was talking about the spirituality of sex. Most of us have never really come to understand the spiritual depth of Apostle Paul's message to the church regarding the mystery of sex. It says, anyone who makes his own body joined to a harlot becomes one body with that harlot. This Bible verse is saying, when a man has sex with a woman, irrespective of who she is, there is a spiritual connectivity. There is a transfer of spiritual content from both parties. Whatever spirit the woman is possessed with goes into the man. The man becomes a prostitute because that is what the woman is. What the woman carries determines what the man becomes. It doesn't matter how clean a water is. Any contact with the dirty water will contaminate it. It is the dirty water that determines the outcome of the clean water, and vice versa. The elements in the dirty water will engulf the elements in the clean water. It will be difficult to see the purity of the clean water because the particles from the dirty water will overshadow the drinkability of the good water. This is similar to having sex with the wrong person. In Genesis chapter 2 verse 24, therefore shall a man leave his parents and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. Transitionally, the movement is from the woman to the man. She packs her things and moves to the man's house. But spiritually, it is the man who really went in to the woman. And this is why the scripture always refers to it as he went into her. Genesis chapter 16 verse 4, and Abraham went into Hagar, and she conceived. Genesis 29 verse 30, and Jacob went in also unto Rachel, and he loved also Rachel. 2 Samuel chapter 12 verse 24, and David comforted Bathsheba his wife, and went in unto her. In Numbers chapter 23, Balaam the Midianite was hired by Balak the king of Moab to place a curse on the children of Israel on their way to the promised land. Every attempt he made were divinely overturned by a higher spiritual phenomenon. As a man with spiritual endowments, Balaam knew that the only way to break through the spiritual formidable wall protecting the Israelites was to go through the corridor of sexuality. He gave Balak the advice to set sexual traps for the Hebrew men. The moment the Hebrew men started having sex with the Moabite women, who were idol worshippers, a soul tie was created. They became united in the spirit with the Moabite women, and subsequently became idol worshippers. King Solomon, a man with an unparalleled wisdom, whose love for God was highly unprecedented, but not unto strange women with untraceable spiritual identity, started flocking their way into his life. He lost his spiritual connection with God and became, paradoxically, a prodigal son. Your spiritual status and political power notwithstanding is no match for strange spiritual occurrences when you are sexually reckless. There is a spiritual underpinning of every sexual activity. Only one person is the right one for you. Every other one outside that right person is a wrong person. When the man finds himself in a wrong boat, only one prediction awaits him: wrong destination.